Hello, Crafty Crandall here, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about artistic burnout. I thought that it would be ironic to film this video while I am painting a piece that is representative of the song Burning Man by Dierks Bentley and the brothers Osborne. For obvious copyright reasons, I can't play this song. However, I would highly recommend that you go and check it out. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, I did just want to talk a little bit about artistic burnout. Now, I've done a video previously on finding artistic inspiration, and that is not, to me, at least in my opinion, the same thing as artistic burnout. There's not being able to find inspiration, there's art block, and then to me, there's also what I would consider to be more of like a burnout situation. Either burnout because you have pushed so hard with your artwork and you've done so much artwork in a short period of time, or you've worked on a really complex piece and you're just kind of exhausted from doing so, or because the rest of your life has been so busy that you feel burnout in general, and then that kind of applies to your artwork as well. I would say that I'm probably in the second category right now with regard to my own artwork, but I just wanted to talk a little bit about overcoming it and kind of how I approach burnout and how to fix it. So in situations like I'm currently in, where I've got a lot going on as far as my job and my personal life, I find that I don't have the time that I'd like to dedicate to my artwork. But during these times, I find it so important to keep a log of all of the ideas that I get for new art pieces during this time. I might not have the chance to really apply myself to them. I might not have the chance to start them right away, but I don't want to lose track of anything that comes to me in the moment, because ideas are sometimes things that you don't necessarily remember if you don't log them. I know that I'm guilty of forgetting more than one idea in my day and have regretted in the past not writing them down. And so my first tip would just be to, although you are not exercising your creativity physically or might not have the energy or the time to dedicate to it, I would recommend keeping a log of any of your ideas that you have during that time so that you can approach them later. Secondly, I would say, at least in my case, something that I do to mitigate the burnout is to work on a smaller piece that is less, not important necessarily, but less stressful than something else would be. So that for me was this painting that you're seeing me paint here. This piece is kind of a coming back to my roots piece, in that I always used to depict visualizations of different songs, and I haven't done it for a really long time, and I've missed it so much because, to be honest, it was something that I lacked inspiration for because there wasn't a lot of new music being produced during the pandemic. However, I would say that I've produced a lot of other work in that period of time that I'm proud of. And so being able to come back to a simpler piece like this, and one that is in a sketchbook and not as much pressure as some of the other pieces that I have in my brain, some of the other ideas that I really do want to approach, really is valuable. So I appreciate being able to take on a smaller piece in this period of time and just approach it a little bit more simply and free-flowing than some of the other pieces. You'll notice that I used a lot of wet on wet technique for this piece, and that to me is kind of like the epitome of a free-flowing, more loose artwork than some of the other pieces that I tend to do. So just trying to embrace that creativity for a short period of time, and making the time for a small artwork when you're feeling a burnout period is really helpful, in my opinion. Something else that would probably be helpful would be to approach maybe just sketches for some of your ideas. Start thumbnailing so that you have those thumbnails down for when you do have time or energy to approach some of your other pieces. If you just did a really long, complicated piece, it might be beneficial just to literally do super loose, super destructive little, not destructive, super constructive little thumbnail sketches, either in your sketchbook or on just loose pieces of paper. It can be so helpful just to kind of reapproach some of your older ideas, some of the ideas that you haven't had time to put into a full piece of paper or a full painting or a full drawing. Whatever your medium is, I think that it can be just really helpful to kind of approach artwork in a smaller scale and also a less complex scale when you're feeling exhausted from artwork or exhausted from your life and want to approach artwork but just don't have the time or the energy. Something else that I just wanted to note is that I think, at least in general, pretty much everyone goes through a period of burnout, and not to get too frustrated with yourself, not to apply too much pressure to yourself. It might feel really difficult because not only are you not producing artwork, you're also then not updating your artistic social media, or you're not interacting with your usual art friends with new pieces or this, that, or the other thing that these pressures that we put on ourselves in modern day society to, stay super productive and stay really in tune with everything, to just constantly put out new work and new content. It's just not realistic. We all have lives outside of our artwork, and there's going to be those times where we just don't feel like creating, or we don't have time, or we're just so tired from anything. So don't put that pressure on yourself. It's okay. Actually, I'm going to be traveling here soon, and I am so excited for it, but I know that during that time period, I'm just not going to be making new artwork. I'm not going to have time to really create anything special. So I'm bringing a sketchbook along with me, and I'm just going to use it to doodle and take down thoughts and ideas, and I think that'll just be really helpful to recalibrate once I do have the time to create artwork. I won't be fumbling around trying to figure out ideas, and I'll also just keep that creative muscle kind of working while giving myself a break from trying to come up with new, larger pieces and complete them in a timely manner. Which also means that I probably won't have time to do another a really big in-depth YouTube video piece for next week, and therefore I will probably end up doing the part 2 of my reacting to my old artwork video, because frankly it is easy to produce and it's something that I just have to sit in front of the camera and do. I don't have to do a voiceover or any editing for that type of video really, other than just chopping up the clips when I'm transitioning into a new piece. And so that to me is another way to approach kind of, if you know in advance that you're going through a period of busyness or time management wise, that would be another case in which I would say it'd be useful to either schedule in advance smaller pieces that you can do, or just schedule in advance the content that you want to produce so that you can manage your time wisely to avoid burnout in that sense, where you're just too busy to produce artwork. You've got a lot of other stuff going on. And I think that my final point would just be to go with the flow. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't take it too seriously. Don't feel disappointed if you are, going through a period of artistic burnout. Just let it happen. I promise it won't last forever. It never does. And even if you've gone months without creating anything, the minute that you get back into it, it will feel like a breath of fresh air. And, it can feel frustrating sometimes not getting to the pieces that you want to, or having so many ideas and just not being able to put them into paper. But trust me, there will be time at some point. You just have to stockpile those ideas and really make the time when you do have it to sit down and explore them. Artistic burnout is one of those things that's it's an ebb and flow. And so, you know, in periods where you're feeling artistic and you do have the time, you really want to maximize that as well. I find that really maximizing the artistic time that I give myself, I am thereby kind of lessening the effect of the artistic burnout that I feel at other times, because I did everything that I could while I had the time and the energy to put forth into those pieces. Hopefully this kind of dialogue is helpful for you. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments if you are going through a period of artistic burnout, or if you've experienced it previously and have any tips for anyone else. If you would be willing to leave a comment, that would be greatly appreciated, and we can kind of have a conversation around this topic. Finally, I would just like to mention a bit more about the art piece. Like I said, it is for the song Burning Man by Dierks Bentley and the Brothers Osborne. I drew a compass rose because I wanted to depict the lyric, "Some days I'm headed in the right direction, and some days I ain't even close," because I thought it was just a lyric that really hits home for me and is something that I can really relate to. Like, some days, yes, I am, you know, focused. I know exactly what I'm doing. I have a list and I'm going to divide and conquer, and it's going to be great. And other days I am a mess. So I thought that would kind of go with this topic as well, and just kind of add to and supplement the topic of burnout. I drew the fire, obviously, because the song title is Burning Man, and then I put in the lyrics that I was trying to depict so that it was obvious. I really enjoyed painting this piece. Like I said, it was a very loose, free-flowing piece for me, and although it didn't take terribly long, I just really appreciated having the time and opportunity to paint before I, you know, have a whole bunch of other stuff going on that kind of sucks up the time that I would normally then spend on artwork. If you enjoyed this style of speed paint as opposed to my normal style of speed paint wherein I speed up the footage, I would really appreciate having some of that feedback as well, as it was a little bit more difficult to film, but definitely easier to edit. So I would be curious to know which one you prefer. If you prefer the sped up footage with the full process, or smaller real-time clips like this that are either zoomed in differently or just depicting different parts of the process, but not the whole thing. If you could just let me know, that would be awesome feedback to have for my channel. Which reminds me, I have to thank everyone who has watched my videos recently and who has subscribed to this channel, because we hit 100 subscribers recently, which is absolutely crazy. So seriously, thank you guys so much. I appreciate the support. I love having a place just to talk about art, to, you know, show some of my artwork, to hear from you guys and kind of learn more about the art community. I love watching YouTube videos, so if you have a channel, please link me to it down below, or just say in the comments that you do, because I'd love to check out your channel as well. And with that, I think I will sign off here. So thank you guys again so much for watching. If you liked this video, please feel free to give it a like. Please feel free to subscribe to my channel. Join those other 100 people who have already subscribed. I would really love to have you. I post new art and book related videos every single Tuesday and occasionally on Friday. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. See you in the next one. Bye.